We are back after another Real Housewives of Atlanta season 15 reunion. Big face, small face, and you look much better as the season has come to an end. We are really ready to go right into it. We have some amazing people on this cast. Returning for part 2 of this reunion is the one and only House of Aaron. Aaron, I'm glad that you could be back. Happy to have you. You've been breaking news all week, like the possibility of She by Sheree or Shit by Sheree, as Tyree called it, getting sued by Kandi Burruss. I saw that first on your podcast, so glad that you could be here with us. We also have with us the famous longtime reality television commentator, Justin Diego. Justin, welcome to your first time joining the Zactivist Speaks. Welcome. Yeah, I'm happy for you to be here too, because I know that hopefully we'll get. There's a lot of questions. I know there's a lot of things I want to know from your perspective. Coming back is the one and only I'm Just CJ. CJ, welcome back.
Thank you for having me back.
Yeah, you know you're always welcome back. We're happy to have you and your mocktail. It's hard to trust someone who doesn't drink real liquor, but we are trusting you.
Oh, you can trust me all the time, 'cause I always save the day.
You do save the day. You are a day saving man.
Thank you.
Yeah, I thought I would say something else. You're a day saving man. And
where is that going?
We're glad that you're here. And joining us in from the road, from the stage, from the streets, from all the things that this man has been doing, the one and only VinceAshton. Vince, welcome back.
What's going on?
It's been a long time. You've done a lot of shows, a lot of press. What's the biggest thing that you've done recently that you can share with the audience?
The biggest thing that I've done recently was probably the Look Up Atlanta Festival for 4th of July at Centennial Olympic Park.
It was a great performance.
40,000 people out there.
It was a great
Having
performance.
the honor to open and close that set was really good. So.
It was amazing. It was absolutely Atlanta from start to finish.
Yeah.
So congratulations to you, and congratulations to Look Up Festival recognizing true Atlanta talent.
Real Atlanta.
Real Atlanta, just like the one and only Queen of Atlanta, Kandi Burruss. And that's a great way to go right into my very first question, is that, you know, on episode 2 of the season 15 reunion, we saw Sheree continue her shade streak towards Kandi Burruss, while Andy continued to continuously pepper her with questions into what me seemed to be like an assault. Now, was there anything brought up tonight that you feel was valid in the multiple attacks levied against Kandi Burruss, the one true queen of Atlanta? And we can start with you, Vince.
Wow. That's really good. Geez, come back to me. I can jump off of somebody else.
You said attack?
He said stuff that's...
There were multiple attacks against Kandi.
Which one?
Like, we
like
have
what?
seen
things that are valid.
multiple where, you know, they have accused Kandi of not being as forthcoming with her life as other women on the show, when
yes,
we
Sheree's
know
right with that.
significantly more about Kandi Burruss and her life and her problems than we know about Marlo Hampton, than we know about even Kenya Moore and the hair that doesn't move.
I do feel that Kandi has been playing it safe since season 11. And I think that she has just been content with being in that third seat spot on that couch. And I think just me looking at it as a consumer, I feel like she's sort of treating the show as a check off on the bucket list to keep that reign as the queen of Atlanta, queen of, you know, Real Housewives of Atlanta, what have you. And I think, you know, like Marlo and Sheree said in their press runs, how they just wanted to make her work, because Kandi's just been chilling. She really has. So I do find validity in that.
You know, I as someone who adores Kandi Burruss, I will not say that Kandi hasn't been the focus of I can't say she's been the focus of a lot of drama and a lot of storylines, because she hasn't. But I also can't say that's because of Kandi Burruss's decisions or her own or of her fault. Like, to me, like that's not something that the cast members decide. That is on production. That is on the editing of the show. Like, Kandi had a lot of things that could have made this show. When they were talking about Kandi Burruss is booked and busy, then why were the cameras not there while she was booked and busy? She's under contract. And in that contract, she is beholden to share her life. When Kandi Burruss was traveling and touring, they should have been right there with her. When she was in line for this EGOT and she was on Broadway and she was at the Tonys, why were they not there, in capturing the run-up to these big events in her life? That's a decision that Bravo made, and maybe it was a cost-saving measure or whatever it was. They made the decisions. We didn't see a lot of Riley this season. We didn't see a lot of Mama Joyce this season. We did not see the things that make Candy an iconic housewife, and I think that's a problem.
Yes.
And we'll go to you, Aaron. I know that you always have something to say about my girl.
Why? I do agree production needs to follow Candy's life, but why do they keep bringing Sheree back?
Good question.
Oh, yeah, because they made that comment. Well, what was the comment made?
Kenya and Candy have been on here for 10 to 15 years, and why do they feel the need to bring back OG Sheree?
Sheree made it
so she can wear a corset back.
Because it's a lackluster.
Oh, because she said y'all was lackluster. So
it's lackluster. So,
do you feel as though that so Aaron, that's a good point. I'm just gonna go right to it. Do you honestly feel as though Sheree Whitfield adds value to the Real Housewives of Atlanta?
Well, the first part of the reunion, she made it.
I'm talking about the show. She is fighting for her life and fighting for her check. Sheree Whitfield has bills that she cannot pay, verifiable bills that she cannot pay.
Instead of sitting up there with Carlos King complaining, you should have been fighting for your life right along with Sheree.
Yeah, Justin, jump in.
I think that anytime Sheree comes back to the show, everybody gets excited because at the end of the day, she still has her OG status. Like,
that part.
Like, she's not coming back as like somebody who didn't put out and like got fired their first season. Like, she's coming back to do exactly what she said she did, and she revives it every time she comes back.
Justin, what has she brought to the show? You give me, and because this is what my argument is, right? I say in 15 years of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Sheree has not given us anything that cements her as an iconic member of the stage.
That's not true.
Just because you're in the first season.
Now you're trying it.
Deshaun Snow is an OG. Lisa Wu is an OG.
Lisa Wu is an OG.
Again, I want to hear from Justin. I want him to validate this claim that Sheree Whitfield brings something of value to the show. Give me the moments.
The
give it to me.
good thing about Sheree is Sheree has always invited us to laugh at her. Like, she looks dumb as hell a lot. So it's like every time she comes back, if you notice, they dig up all the stuff that makes us laugh at her. So even though like it's not ideal, you would want to come back and be powerful and be exciting. Like every time she comes back is Tyrone. Like she came back the first time. She revealed that her first husband was beating her up in the car. He's laughing. So every time she comes back, we laugh at her in a way that's so impactful that it kind of justifies, and then if it fizzles out, it fizzles out, and she'll come back with something else.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement with that. I don't know about the beating husband thing, making that laughable. Well, the husband beating her by beating her, having that be laughable. But I will say that one thing that I connect with Sheree on is that I think that when she has allowed us to go into that in-depth moments with the Tyrone, with the Bob issues, especially when she was in the car at the Hawaii trip, and Phaedra was like about to knock Bob out, like apologize to that girl because you up. Like I feel like even when she got into that car accident on the way to the PSA and hurt her whatever backbone or whatever that was, like I feel like Sheree has had some very in-depth moments that has compelled a lot of the viewers. And then on the other side of the coin, I feel like she has iconic moments that have longevity. She by Sheree, Chateau Sheree, like all these Sheree-isms exist and have a lot of weight in the Bravo universe. It's like she's and to that point, even when Nene made that comment and Sheree replied, like, no, we built this house together. Yes, Nene may have more, celebrityism around that, but Sheree, I feel like she is vital in that. I can't knock her for that.
Sheree, Kim, and Nene, period.
Right.
I see why.
They built the house, Zack.
Because even the Tyrone thing where she let them film her sitting there knowing he not coming, everybody knew he wasn't coming. But I feel like she doesn't mind, oh, y'all want me to look dumb as hell? I'll do it. And it's gonna give people something to talk about.
Right, but it also was a brain bat because
clowns
Tyrone
have their
was
place.
Introduced in season 4 when that's why the whole Nene and Sheree got into the argument at Atlantic Station. So it came back up.
I mean, clowns have their place. I will give
but
you
I'm
that.
Curious to know why
but
Sheree
what I
got booted
will
off
say,
the show. Like what actually happened?
Sheree is boring. And I do not agree with the claim that Sheree built a house other than Chateau Sheree that took 5 years to build in the same way that it's taken.
That part, Sheree was the one who was actually bringing it. Did
Nene build it by herself?
Nene is the breakout star of the Real Housewives of Atlanta
Where's
franchise.
her show?
And due to a lot of things, Nene doesn't have that show. But it's not to demean or lessen her impact on this franchise. Sheree Whitfield has always been a supporting character and has always been extraneous to the core of the show.
So
now, you can say all day that she built a house, but she is extraneous. And I do not like Kim Zolciak. Would never watch her on my TV again in my life or any other MAGA supporter out there. But I will say this. She most certainly added more to the show than what Sheree was able to add to the show.
Again,
Every season that Sheree was on the show, she was constantly grabbing for storylines in the same way she was trying to grab at Kim Zolciak's wig. And to me, that does not a real housewife of Atlanta house builder make.
You can say what you want to say about Sheree, but period. When she was on first, second, third, fourth season, she brought it. Period.
Yep.
And Sheree was in the midst of a lot of those storylines. They weren't made up.
Exactly.
Period.
Her
Now, if you didn't
relationship
watch
with
the show
Bob-
from day one, then you wouldn't know that. And if you just now started watching it and now making your assumption of what you think Sheree is,
correct.
then that's your theory. But if you haven't watched it from day one, you would know Sheree was the one who was bringing it.
Yeah,
Sheree
don't
lived
add
that
the TV to it now. Don't do that because we already started, so I don't want to add it. It's fine. Let's keep it off.
It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter.
Okay, what were you saying, Justin?
No, even like think about the women who had powerful husbands. Sheree was one of them, season one. Like even though were they broken up?
They were going through a divorce.
Okay, so like they were using that clout to legitimize Atlanta before it was about celebrities, right?
No, it
And
was.
she
It was about
documented
her life.
She documented her whole divorce. Like she had a whole divorce party and everything. Like
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that Sheree in the beginning of the show that was the focus, and I agree with that.
but
I'm
for you
just
to
saying
say Lisa Wu
that
had
over the
more
course,
presence over her than
no one said that.
Sheree was
but this
living
is
the
an
life
OG.
that
Lisa
Nene
is an
wanted.
OG, but
Do not Kenya Moore me the way that
That's
she
what-
tried to
that's
do
what you
Ralph
just said.
tonight. Do
You
not
said-
Kenya Moore me
You said it,
the way
you
that
can
she
roll the
tried
tape.
to do
You said that Lisa Wu is an
Ralph.
OG, which is true, but you was coming at it like as if like Lisa Wu had more presence over than Sheree, which
No,
is
no.
not true.
I'm just saying they're equal in my eyes of not having
that's a lie.
contributed to the show.
That's a lie because Lisa Wu, I love Lisa Wu. However, Sheree brought it more than Lisa Wu.
And when
To-
Lisa
to-
Wu did,
And Lisa Wu was only on 2 seasons
when she did TV One, she lost her peach.
for R&B divas, right?
Hollywood.
Hollywood.
My bad, Hollywood divas.
Well, one thing to talk about here is we opened up last week with who won the reunion. So we'll go right back to that question. And CJ, who won tonight with part 2 of this reunion?
As far as reads,
Just the best performance of anyone on our TV tonight.
oh my god, I would have my girl saying ate Kenya up, but I would have to say Candy and Sheree again. Like they were going back and up, but Candy let her have it. Like, but Sheree was coming at it too. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like everyone had their own moment in their own time throughout the hour and 15 minutes that this was on TV.
Yeah.
I mean, let me say 15 minutes. You know, minus the commercials.
Yeah. I would have to agree. I don't think that there was a standout this second part. I feel like each woman did play an essential part. It was more of a collective versus the first part was definitely Candy and Sheree. So yeah.
Well, last week, Aaron said that the winner of the reunion was Sheree Whitfield. And the week of Twitter commentary proved him to be in the majority. Aaron, who won tonight?
Sonya.
Why do you say Sonya won?
Sonya got Kenya together. Sonya was poised and calm, articulate. She was gorgeous. She's the only one with a real storyline. She shared her life. She was vulnerable about the miscarriage. She's the only one that was a friend to Drew. Whereas Candy and Kenya, what happened to the alliance? Drew was, steady windmilling for Candy when it was, against Marlo. But where were the friends when she needed it? Sonya's the only one. Y'all love to say, oh my God, Sonya loves to bring up her beef with Drew. Sonya was the only friend to, Drew.
Sonya was very consistent
So
tonight.
Sonya
She gave
looked gorgeous.
Of course she did.
the best performance of her life on this show. In 2 years, this was her best performance.
How can you give it to her
On the show. On the show.
for about 5-10 minutes?
This
Say
was
it
her
again.
best cut on the show.
No, I was saying that's my girl, and I agree with you. Even I just said like she gave it to Kenya, but how can you say she won it for the whole night when
She was poised.
her and Kenya interaction was only 5-10 minutes?
But don't forget about her jumping in the Sanya and Candy.
Oh yeah, when Candy
And then Candy had to be like, wait a minute. Candy was begging her not to come.
Not
first.
right. Don't argue with me. Right.
Because what was Candy gonna say in defense? What was you gonna do? Did you have ammunition on Sonya? You don't have anything on Sonya.
So just
So-
agree. You're saying that Sonya.
I agree. I feel like Candy doesn't want them to like come at her as an alliance. So she wanted to. She can handle Sheree on her own, but Candy couldn't handle that whole couch.
I love
That was
how
tough.
I completely am bringing a totally different opinion than everyone at the table because I don't agree with any of you.
What are you gonna say?
The
Ralph?
best person and performance of the night is someone I thoroughly dislike on the show, but I will have to argue for the first time ever that she belongs on this cast, and that's Marlo. Tonight, we saw Marlo truly give the comedic impact that she gave as a friend of the show.
Yeah.
Her side commentary, her looks, her whole approach.
Did she not do
Side
that this
commentary,
season?
hands down,
She
was the Marlo.
did not give
In the
it in the same
confessional,
way.
the fashion,
She-
Marlo's fashion corner, and
That was all
the She
staged.
by
It wasn't
Sheree.
natural. This is what I don't believe that was natural, right?
So-
I think that was like production trying. I think that I do have to say that I agree with the people in the social media world who are saying that production truly tried to give Marlo a good edit. And I think that they tried to give her all those little things to make her more valid and relevant. What they should have been doing is let Marlo just be Marlo. Because the natural Marlo that we saw in this reunion tonight, giving the reads, throwing the shade, very effortlessly, very much on the side, is the shady Marlo that made people love her and fight for her so hard to get a peach. And we finally saw that tonight. It wasn't about her trying to be a redeemed villain. It wasn't about her trying to be Mom T and all that nonsense that really doesn't even fit the brand of Marlo
how was being a
Hampton.
Monty nonsense?
It is not her brand. When we
That's
look
her
at these
life.
women, I
She
get
has
that.
taken in
I
her
get that.
nephew.
And that's a
That
great
part.
story. But that isn't what made people love Marlo Hampton. That's not what endeared fans to
But
her.
that's her
what
life. You
endeared
claim you
fans to
want
her
real life.
was her personality.
Right, but her
and
life
we
had
didn't get to
changed
see
through
this
years.
personality on the show until tonight.
No, we saw
You
it
make a
throughout
good
the
point. I see
all.
what you-
Thank you.
We saw it for the past 2 years. Y'all didn't like it. You don't like Marlo's personality.
I
She
do
was
not.
more tamed and more calm and more poised. That's the Marlo that you like. That's not the real
Because
Marlo.
if she had done much more, then everybody would have been like, "Oh my God, Marlo."
She's
Marlo,
the. If she would have spoken more, she would have. Y'all would have hated her.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So one thing that they made seem like would be the big focus of Reunion Part 2 would be the Drew Sidora and Ralph Pittman divorce storyline.
Yeah.
And we finally got to see that somewhat play out. And I want to know, what do you guys think about what was revealed fully to us, not just in the clips, but from the full layout of this reunion with Ralph and Drew? And we'll start with you, Justin. Oh, no, you can go first, CJ.
I was gonna say absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say too. We
Period.
didn't learn
Absolutely
anything.
nothing.
Yeah.
Andy was asking. First of all, Drew was on snooze fest to begin with. She didn't want to answer nothing. Kenya was like, "Just go ahead and answer. Go ahead and answer." She kept trying to.
But
pass.
she was saying that she was so, heartbroken.
No. She kept saying, "This is your moment, Ralph. Go ahead. This is what you want."
And handing him a peach.
Dating him, right? handing him
How
the
are you
keys with
so
the props.
heartbroken, but you have props ready on
That
go?
part, you had a
How
piece
are
for
you so
him.
heartbroken when you have a whole song ready on
That part.
ready for the
Okay.
producer
And
to press
ironically, you dropped the
play?
song
You
the
had him
weekend of
be-
the last part of the reunion. You know what I'm saying?
Eve
So
handed
for-
Andy a plum.
She
Eve
did.
handed Andy
It's like
right,
you're
that's what I'm saying.
acting.
Like,
a plum to the snake. Eve
well,
handed
I don't
Andy
think
a
we'll ever know the truth because he was saying he was telling the truth, but then Drew wasn't answering some of the questions. When he asked her, "Did you have an affair with Ty?" she completely went side with it and didn't even answer the question until later on. So I think they're both lying, honestly. And like I said, we'll never know.
How yeah, go ahead. I just want to know, you get upset when people call you an actress, but we're in the middle of something real. If this is something real that's happening in your life and you are for real about it, you have a song on ready and a peach and a prop on ready, but you don't want people saying that you're acting.
Yeah.
Stop acting and we won't say that you're acting. Drew, I cannot get with Drew this season. I can't get with her sister, who's drunk. You say...
Why she got to be drunk?
She was. Drew was like, lay off the vodka to Courtney. Baby, tell Allison to lay off the tequila.
You calling her an alcoholic?
I'm not calling her an alcoholic. I'm calling her drunk that night.
She didn't have a cocktail.
It is
on
what
her
it is.
hand.
Girl, you don't have the best the best people can hide it. That's all.
Oh my God.
I think the probably only
So it is
truthful
what it
thing that they
is.
said was when she said, "Oh, we stopped talking to Allison." He said, "No, we all stopped talking to Allison." I think that's probably the only truthful thing that came out of his mouth.
You
The
know-
blowjob comment, talking about, "Oh, I was just saying that, just joking." Who says that?
Do you guys think that plum that Drew handed Andy was the same plum that Drew threw at Courtney?
Yes.
No.
And then
It was
Andy ate it.
eaten. It was eaten
Well, he
already.
picked
It
it
was
off the
already
floor.
chewed.
didn't
No,
he?
he ate it. Yeah, he ate
Yeah.
that tonight. That was also in that.
Oh.
So for me, all I could do in that moment was equate that conversation to the Married to Medicine reunion when Quad and her then husband had that one-on-one, and how real and transparent and vulnerable that was.
with Greg.
And so with Greg. And so when I look at and I remember that moment, and then I see what happened tonight, I'm just sort of like, the milk ain't all the way clean. Like something is not.
Do you think it's a
in
fake
its
divorce?
fullness and its
Is this a real?
I don't know. I don't.
You
I
call
don't
it-
hear
you
this.
call it
though,
like
because
Cam
we
and
already
Doris
know
situation?
that Married to Medicine across the board, they have more
Yes.
mature, serious
No, that's real. That's
situations.
real.
Whereas I feel like everything that happens with Atlanta, even if somebody, I hate to say that, but I can't say that. But Atlanta always has an obligation to be a little bit entertaining
Correct.
with everything. So
Okay,
while,
okay.
whereas Married to Medicine is a little bit more of a documentary
Yeah.
series.
With entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they have Dr. Jackie and
Like
she's so
even,
boring.
even the editing, I feel like even the editing with Atlanta, it can be the most serious thing, and they're gonna make it funny.
Hold up now, Justin. Now, Married to Medicine had some love and hip hop moments on there.
I'm not saying that they haven't, but I think that across the board, we take them more serious and we believe their stuff more
yeah.
than Atlanta. It's like we know this.
I
But,
agree.
So are you
I
saying
but I
that
still
Drew-
think, as it relates to marriage, especially as how passionate that Drew has conveyed and communicated to us that this is her do or die, I think that is a gun ho moment for her, and I don't think I don't think her and Ralph communicated it well.
Well, she did say this has been going on since Chicago prior to the show.
Look.
But are you calling it another Kim and Croy situation?
Look, let's
Zach?
just tell him what it is.
he
Here's the
said
thing.
Right.
There's no question about this. Let's just call it out, right? There is no way that you're sitting here on national television and you are refusing to even acknowledge this man that you still live with every day, who takes care of your children every single day, if you guys are really in that space. And not only were you at a point of acting as though you're devastated, you're so angry at him you can't speak to him in one panel. Then the next panel, you are devastated, you're crying, your makeup is running. Sonya has to get, this woman is pregnant, visibly pregnant.
Made
She
a
has to
pregnant
get
woman
up
get up.
out of her seat to go and check on you. Manietta's there with her scary side claw, and they're right there in that dressing room trying to take care of you with Allison, who's put down her tequila shot
Yes.
to help you feel better. only for you to turn right back around to
Yes.
then come back out here and deliver.
Crazy.
You had to literally come right back, and you had to literally that's okay.
What are y'all doing
No,
her like
listen.
that?
Then you literally came right back out of the green room with your makeup touched up, and you picked up the microphone and you delivered your best impersonation of Tony Braxton impersonating Tony Braxton. I'm over it. None of this is
Tony.
real.
Now you tried it.
Now
No,
Tony
no,
gonna
no.
watch it and say, "I get in this."
Tony
Right.
Braxton.
See?
I said if Tony Braxton was impersonating Tony Braxton. That's what I said. So that was no shade to Tony, but all the shade in the world to the track that Drew Sidor tried to sing over on national television tonight.
Jesus.
It's not real. I don't buy it. I don't think it's real.
Why are y'all pushing that this lady is drunk?
I don't know about
Why are we pushing? That's the thing. That's why I can't stand Housewives fans. It's Drew. No one did they face like when she said lay off the vodka to Courtney. When has Courtney ever been a drunk? Why
don't
are
remember,
you
yeah.
so pressed?
Because she said in her
Candy,
confessional that
Allison needs to be calling out Candy for calling your sister a lying ass hoe. It's still not verified since we're talking about unverified, verified. It's still not verified that Courtney called you a bitch. That footage didn't prove shit.
Correct.
Manietta was just talking. I love Manietta. She was just talking. She don't even know.
Can I bring
So
up
my whole
something?
thing is
Okay.
Allison needs
I
to
wanted
check
to chime in
Candy.
on that collusion comment because
Oh,
that
yeah.
really
Whoa.
bored my boy.
Who
Yeah,
colluded?
what were you gonna
Well,
say?
I
No
was
one
CJ?
here to use that collusion word.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, if you want to be clear, what is the most accurate picture of collusion is that, what was that, season 13, the whole Cynthia, Nene, Candy, hot mic moment. I'm don't. I'm not supposed to tell Nene I'm here. That's an alliance.
No.
That's what collusion is. What Sonya and Courtney was doing in Portugal, that was not collusion.
That wasn't cool.
And if
That was not collusion.
yeah, CJ, what were you gonna say?
Well, I just want to know when Drew had said that Ralph had got with Mimi. I don't know if you guys caught that.
He made
to
that
make
up.
this lie. But then Candy confirmed that her assistant Danny was the one who was going around saying it. So was she calling Candy a liar now too? And she was like,
Drew
"Oh no,
just
that's not
makes
true.
stuff
My
up.
sister didn't say that." Da 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 da. Ralph said it. Sheree said it, if I'm not mistaken, and Candy said that Danny, the assistant, was going around saying this.
She don't want to.
Yeah, Aaron, you bring up a good point. You literally just said Drew makes stuff up.
Yep.
I think that's obvious. I think that Drew is a liar and has lied about things on the show.
What wasn't Mimi's
We
name?
have
Like,
clips. We
didn't
have.
Mimi come out and say something though?
Yeah, Mimi
don't
has
like
said
that.
something. We have evidence. But what I don't understand is how is it that the fandom is so vigilantly protective of Drew Sidora
That's
when
a
she
great
has lied
question.
continuously?
I don't
Because
know.
you have a husband that has gaslighted her.
Okay.
And I think on this type of show, the fans want to see the women rise above their abusive husbands. They don't want to see
Is
the
Drew
fault.
not also abusive back?
Well,
Really?
we don't know. To me,
know.
I've heard a lot of things.
We've seen the abuse.
that haven't.
Ralph may gaslight, but Drew manipulates. And we have seen evidence of that multiple times.
Yeah.
And I'm not in any way trying to invalidate what fans may feel in that regard, but I just want people to be fair. Be fair in how you judge these
But
these
that's the
fairness.
thing.
That's
When it
good.
comes to a husband and a wife, it's hard to be fair in this situation because not everything is being aired on the television screen.
Right.
And then if you do try to give Ralph a bone and criticize Drew Sidora and her unhonest ways, it comes across as you are, going against an abused wife.
But here's the thing. I do agree with you. That's how people are going to want to spin this. But people are watching and seeing exactly what I'm watching and seeing. I'm no insider. I don't know anything about these people. Don't care to know more than what is shown on the show. I watch this for entertainment. What I have seen on the show is evidence of infidelity from Drew Sidora. I have seen her being
Speak on
guilty of adultery in this. I have heard her accuse Ralph of it. I have seen her accuse Ralph of it. But the evidence that has been presented is all against
I've been
Drew.
saying that
and I
for
do not
months.
understand how these fans can stand 10 toes down for her when she is the one who's thus far been found guilty of this.
I have been saying that for months. Ralph has been, it's been pushed on him that he's the cheater. But we have not, as fans, seen concrete evidence of him cheating.
Right.
We've only gotten evidence
Which is
that
what he
Drew
said.
is a cheater.
Which is what he
Right.
said. It would have came out already.
Right. So it's
Which I
like,
believe.
if he's a cheater,
Low-key,
why
I
are we?
believe that.
Why is all the fallout on your end, Drew?
Exactly.
Well, how is he able to keep his secrets and you can't?
It indicates to me the unfair way that this fandom views the women and their husbands. And there are many husbands who should have been viewed much harsher than what they were, Peter Thomas.
Now, Ralph is trash, though.
I in no way said he wasn't. I'm just saying be fair in how you take out the trash.
Oh, that's a word.
Right.
That's
so,
a
that's just a
word.
question. And again, I'm also very baffled if Drew and Ralph met in a swingers club as allegedly as your interview with little assistant Al G said, Al G experience. If that's true, then why is it that Ralph is so concerned about Ty? It's not like this
Well,
is the
you
first
said
woman.
she was a stud. That's why.
I didn't say that. What I said
Apparently,
was,
and I kind of understand when you said that. I'm like, okay, a light bulb went off.
Yeah.
If Drew's with another feminine woman, then it's kind of like, oh, okay, my wife is with a hot woman. But then it's like, okay, my wife is feeling a girl that's masculine. He feels threatened. His masculinity is threatened.
that's what I said. Now, what I said was,
That's interesting.
What my specific words and language to those watching, I said that Ty is a masculine presenting woman. And that might be something that makes Ralph have pause and more concern because she has things that he does not have. They both can be eaten, but it's a different taste. And not only that, she can probably do things and make Drew feel things that, Ralph probably has never been able to make her
Just
feel.
watch the past.
Jesus.
I'm not going to do that.
You need to watch. It's literally the situation that
Why
you're
aren't you gonna watch that
describing.
movie?
I don't have
I'll
Peacock.
tell you what happened.
Oh,
So
please.
Drew has this, Drew has this, Drew has this lesbian affair in the movie, and it looks like all of her sexual fantasies just came to life. Like the girl is just doing a
All of
number.
her sexual actions that she's committed in her life.
The
Allegedly.
girl is doing a number on her, and it just seems like she's having the best time of her life. Then they cut to a scene later on where she's having sex with her husband, and it's so dry and just
And very
boring.
much just dry. And she's fantasizing about the one while she's having sex with her husband.
Right.
So one thing that we talked about who won the reunion, and so I have some other questions we're gonna try kind of transition off to. The last question I want to ask on this topic will be, when we look at the 15 reunions that we've seen, how do we rate this reunion in regards on a scale of 1 to 10? But before I ask you that, I do want to talk about Kenya Moore.
Throughout all the reunions?
When you look at all these reunions and we give this one a ranking of like 1 being the worst reunion and 10 being one of the best, where does this fall? So think about that. But before we go into that, I do want to talk about Kenya Moore. While she wasn't sitting there being socially distanced, she was sitting there awfully close, real tight. She did not, as we know this season, bring a lot to the table. And it seems as though she was really trying to insert herself into a lot of post-production drama. And to me, it looked very, very forced. But I want to know what you guys think about that. I was really disturbed by how she was coming at Ralph as though she had anything whatsoever to do with that relationship.
That's not the first time she came for Ralph, though. She came for Ralph when they were in New York last season. She came for him when he did something to Drew.
At the dinner.
Yeah, so that's not her first time doing it.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
So you think that she's justified in her,
No,
or
I'm
at least
not
she's
saying
consistent.
justified. I'm just
She's
saying
consistent.
That's not her first time doing it, is what I'm saying to you.
Kenya Moore has confronted more men on this show
Right, that part.
than anybody else. And I feel two ways. I like the fact that she was a friend to Drew and she stood up for Drew in that moment. But I also feel like you're the first one to also claim that when a man responds back to you, you'll say, well, I don't have a man by my side to defend me. So if that's always your go-to sentence, stop approaching men. Stop confronting them. You're the only cast member. I don't know. I think she's obsessed with men.
I would have given that credence and credibility if she would have brought that same energy towards her own husband. But she attacked Apollo. She attacked man after man after man. Peter, Apollo, Greg. She always had heat for men. Even Ross. That's right.
Last year.
But instead of, and she has her unique mechanisms for how she attacks people in general. She is a phenomenal gaslighter, or for lack of a better word. She knows how to flip things.
She plays the victim.
She knows how to play the victim, and she knows how to always make you, like tonight.
Martell.
We saw Sonya call her out for being a bad friend, and she constantly weaseled her way out of it as a wordsmith. But what we didn't see, and why I'm actually so supportive of Mark Daly, is that she never handled Mark. No, she never handled Mark. She never came for Mark. She never, in any interaction we ever saw with Kenya and Mark, she was always completely falling.
She wanted to save her husband. She wanted to save her marriage.
But why do you have so much heat for other men, but you don't have any heat for your own?
But this is what she said in the COVID special. Her words exactly during the COVID reunion. She said, when it comes to people who she cares about and that's in her circle, she doesn't know how to be a fighter. But when it comes to people who it's just whatever, she can fight all day. That's exactly what she said.
Well, I hope that she can fight.
Energy to Mark Daly.
I hope that she gets a chance to fight on another show, because her time on this show should be over.
I disagree with that. As much as I don't like Kenya, I disagree with that. She's good TV regardless.
Kenya hasn't given good TV in 3 years.
It sounds like that's not her choice, though. Sounds like that's production.
That's what she wants you to believe. But
well,
let me tell you,
do you work again? I said you need to get a job with Bravo.
I have a job, and I like it
with Bravo.
But what I have seen, let me tell you what I've seen. Justin, let me tell you what I've seen. What I've seen is a salon of sorts that was supposedly the great content, the best content of the year was happening in this salon, and we didn't get to see any of it because production hates her. That's what we were told. But when I looked at the videos of this studio space with exposed cement and mannequin heads sitting there with really poor wigs on them and bottles of Kenya Moore hair care water, all I could think to myself was Kenya Moore is delusional and she has lied to the people. I am willing to bet you any amount of money that the footage from this grand opening of Kenya Moore Hair Care Salon was just as boring as a pilot episode of Kenya and Brooklyn Do Paris. None of which the people would ever want to see.
She said it was a soft open. She didn't say it was a grand open.
Right.
Yeah, because it's still softly closed.
But why would you care that it's on TV if it's not ready to open? The pass was ready to go when the episodes air.
She wanted that. She wants that publicity.
So you want the publicity, but there's the salon's not ready.
And
So
if
why
she-
would it
yeah.
matter to you?
And if she really wanted publicity, she would not have come on the reunion with her hair looking the way that it did.
Wait, what?
Her hair.
Now you dragging.
All I'm
Right.
saying
Now you're
was,
doing the most now.
no, I'm not doing the most. I'm being honest. I'm just giving my honest opinion. If Kenya Moore is a hair care guru, she is the second coming of the Bonner brothers in Atlanta, then she would have given us hair that would have been befitting of the salon
Not
that we
Marilyn
didn't see.
Monroe? Oh, you talking about at the salon opening?
No, at this
Oh,
reunion.
at the reunion.
We got helmet head Marilyn Monroe. We got Judy Jetson. That's what she gave in this hair.
Old Hollywood vibe.
Helmet head.
You didn't
it
like the
was
old Hollywood?
Hollywood. It was definitely old Hollywood.
Did you say Judy Jetson?
It was.
I did.
I can't.
I think
did.
Marlo did old Hollywood better, but
She did. And I think that her gown ain't getting the credit it deserves.
My thing with Kenya is, I mean, Jesus, I see the two sides. I know that she has a very dedicated fan base, and I know that she has been instrumental in the success of the show. I'm not going to negate that. Do I care for her behavior at many moments of her tenure on the show? No, I don't. But do I feel like she does bring something to it? 1,000%. I feel like with Kenya and Candy at this point, I think they both need to be placed on pause, and I think they need to live. I think they need to experience new things. I think they need to garner more things under their belt in a 2 to 3 year hiatus, and then return to the show. One thing that I do enjoy about Nene is when she took that year off, and then that following year she came back as a friend, and then that following year she got the peach back. Nene lived, and when she fully came back into that housewife peach, she had much more to show. And I feel like Kenya and Candy are sticking there for the sake of keeping up with the Joneses, or because I am an asset and the network needs me here. But one thing that we can say we're fickle as freak as fans or whatever, if you go back to the comments on social media last year, the year before that, and the year before that, everybody has been saying that Kenya and Candy are producing. They haven't been producing a lot of storylines, which is fine, and I get that, because in my own day-to-day, if we talking about reality, I have great years and I have years that is pretty much chill. That's just being a human. So for you as a reality star, you need to know I don't have a lot going on right now, so I need to take a breath and I need to take a beat and take a step back, and that's okay, and be mature about it, and then come back when you're fully ready, because people gonna continue to drag you. That's how I feel about Kenya.
I agree. I agree with the Kenya part. I don't agree with the Candy part. And the only reason I
Candy
don't,
too, she need to take a
it's
pause.
okay to roll back.
Yeah.
You don't have to be at the forefront. But
Right.
if you're on the camera, you need to deliver.
Correct.
And that's what I think that Kenya hasn't done.
But, and I don't mean to segue about, make this into a Candy thing. This is my thing about Candy, though. It's like, I feel like Candy has more intentionality around her social media production than she does on the show. I feel like her looks, her glamour, her thought process around the spoofs, around just anything that she's promoting on her social media content is amazing. How she relates and how she communicates her image on the show is just very chill. So if I could get social media influencer Candy on Housewives Candy for the past 2 years, I'll be good.
Here's the difference, is that Candy Burris is not sitting there filming her own TikToks. Candy Burris isn't sitting there filming or even producing her own Speak On It or Candy Coated Nights. She has a team of people, and it's unfortunate that her team is stronger than a Bravo team, and that's just a sad fact of it. Because if those producers were really producing, they would get the best out of every single woman. That's part of the problem, is that they don't have that talent. They're missing something in the process that used to be there. And I believe, and I'm not the world's biggest Carlos King fan, but why am I not the biggest Carlos King fan? I think that Carlos King is, he's a very traditional, typical Libra. And I'm a very traditional, typical Scorpio. And I like, you can't like everybody. You can't give everybody a clean, you just can't. Like, he's a very balanced person, and he does a lot to give people a lot of fair chances. But to me, not everyone deserves that. So that's kind of the difference. That's just kind of where it is with me and Carlos, my feelings about Carlos. But I can't take away from him his talent. Now, I also can't take away the fact that Carlos King has grown in the work that he's done. Yeah. If you look at how Carlos King was as a host or as an interviewer in whatever that show was he was doing, where he was dressed up trying to be Andy Cohen, it was lackluster and horrible. But when you look at him now on his own show where he talk about them raindrops and merch and all that nonsense, it's excellent. So I give him his credit and his growth. He had an eye for talent and an eye for bringing things out of these women that isn't there now. Yeah. And we need that, and that's what we're missing. And we're missing. So from there, I want to go to the big question. How do you rate this reunion, parts 1 and 2, now that it's in its entirety over? What do we rank this as? Scale
Out
of 1 to 10.
all the reunions,
You can
season
rank
one
it in
to
the
season- well, that's what you asked initially.
if you
season
want to,
one
or you can
season
just give me a score of 1 to 10.
Well,
1 the worst, 10 the
I'm
best.
gonna stick to your original question because you said out of all the seasons.
Yeah, right. You can rank it that
Right.
way if you add that
So,
knowledge
out of all the
base.
seasons, I mean, I'd probably give it like a strong 6, 7 out of a 10.
A 6, okay. A
6
7,
and a
maybe a 7, okay.
6.5.
7 out of 10. I thought it was great. I loved it.
7 out of 10.
I was
okay.
entertained. Yes.
Just looking at me. I'm gonna have to say a 6 as well. I was sort of equated to season 2's reunion with Tardy at the party when Kim performed at the end and then Candy did Fly Above, like Drew did her song at the end. And season 2 was a 2-parter.
Vintage
and this
RHOA.
was a 2-parter.
Oh,
I really
good catch.
equate this reunion to season 2.
And you give it a 6.
I give it a 6.5.
6.5.
Yeah.
I think it was a good reunion for this season.
Yeah.
But years down the road, I'm not gonna think about this reunion at all. I'm not gonna remember anything specifically.
Not
I
the
agree
plum?
with you on that because
Yeah, so it's hard to rank it so high.
Not the
6 is
receipts?
pretty high.
Yeah.
6 is high.
No.
The peach?
Well, I remember She News for a long
Which
time.
was the strongest thing in all
Yeah.
honesty. Yeah.
But
Big
when I
face,
think
little
reunions,
face.
I'm thinking when
You could
Portia got dragged. I'm thinking when Nene,
When
stood
Fade
up and
Red
told
Kenya, like-
Kenya she would love for her to beat her ass. Like those, that's what I think of
Show
when
me
I
the
think
receipt.
reunion.
That part.
But this stuff, this was just good for this season. I won't think.
I
Courtney
agree with you.
gagged
I
me.
agree with you in that. I don't think really 6 is high, but like this is not a reunion I would go back. Like I still to this, I watch more of the older Housewives because I just live for the older seasons. I wouldn't watch this back on repeat. I'm gonna tell you that unless I was just doing something for fact checking.
The part that had me most gagged is the hug between Ralph and Courtney.
That was very intimate. I will have to say that. I agree with you, Aaron. It was pretty intimate.
Listen,
It was a little
you
cozy.
already know what the hell going on,
It was a
child.
little
Bring
cozy.
Courtney back. Get Courtney her peach.
I love Courtney.
Do you
I
think
talk to
there's
Courtney on
something-
social
you think
media,
something's
baby.
going on between
Courtney
them?
like all my
If you watch it
I
back,
seen the hug.
the first hug that they did, the first thing Courtney did with Ralph, she went over to Drew and Ralph's house, and I noticed that hug was way too intimate. So I'm living for it, child.
So do you believe they're secretly having an affair?
I don't know, but I think it's weird. I think like that hug, I used to deny it, like, no, they don't have nothing going on. But like that hug made me feel like it's something going on.
When would it
It
have
looked
happened?
cozy. It just looked pretty cozy.
I'm not saying that they have a romantical situation going on. I'm just saying it's something not clean in the milk or the water.
Is it possible that
you know,
Courtney
maybe,
may want
yeah.
something more?
Huh?
Do you feel like Courtney may want something more?
Prying it out.
I'm not sure.
I asked you this before. Do you believe they're really related? And you said yes.
Yes, by marriage,
Yeah,
by law.
marriage.
Yeah.
I feel like the passion behind the hug is how much she wants the camera time.
It might
It's
be.
not-
That's
I
what
don't
I'm
think it's
saying.
Ralph. I think it's the camera.
That's what
time.
I'm saying. I'm not saying it's a romantic thing.
I like it.
Well, look,
So okay, hold up, pause. Have you not gave someone a romantic hug or gave someone a hug and
Not a
someone
family
said-
member.
Well, not blood.
But no,
Well, yeah.
blood or not.
All right. Okay. Well. then-
Okay.
That's the thing. You get what I'm saying?
So one, I would have to give this reunion. I agree with you, Justin. Where you took the words out of my mouth, so I have to add a whole lot to it. In regards to the rest of the season, this was the best part of the whole freaking season 15. This was like the highlight of the season. But when you look at it, is it going to go down as an iconic reunion? I don't know. Like I'm torn because here's the thing. One of the worst seasons of Real Housewives of Atlanta was the COVID season, but that reunion was one of the best reunions of all time. I don't know if this one will be able, if we can do the same. But I do believe the women came with the most they had to give across the board. And they all delivered. The only one who didn't deliver to me was Kenya Moore. Manetta didn't deliver either, but she's not a cast member. Only, Kenya failed.
Not the subpoena.
No, Kenya failed.
That was a
But
flop.
everybody else, and Marlo pulled it.
iconic.
Marlo and Sonya saved themselves tonight. Like they came with their price. So I might,
Not the read about
I
the
might
prostitution.
give it a 7 as well. It might, but I'm gonna have to wait a couple years and maybe a couple more seasons down the road to get there.
But it's hard because Atlanta is known for consistently delivering and exceeding expectations at that. So when you have a reunion that it just meets the brim is like to compare that.
Well, that's something that we're going to talk about next.
crazy.
So the next thing that I want to talk about, we're going to go into how fans expect miracles every single episode of Atlanta. But then when the Housewives of Salt Lake City get on there and they give you the little bit better than average, we go wild on social media. That's coming up. But before we go into to Salt Lake City and the unfair expectations of fans, I want to no. That's what social media has praised this premiere episode of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City.
Do we or do they?
The fans who let me tell you what I've seen. The fans that I am seeing are black fans saying, "Oh my God, they came with it." The people I'm saying who are saying this are people like Alfonso Pop Culture on TikTok. I'm talking about Kempire. These people, the social media commentators, are out here praising this show, whereas I'm saying all they did was not be bad. All they did was not be bad. But I want to say, what could save the Real Housewives of Atlanta as they go into season 16? So here's your chance to tell the production, to tell Bravo what needs to happen with season 16. That's what I want to know.
Portia.
So you're saying bring back Portia at that high cost that she's charging, even though ratings are lower and funding is low. So you're still saying that she's worth that high cost for your entertainment.
Y'all rebooted Roni. How much money y'all need to save?
Those women only make $100,000.
Y'all are doing Ultimate Girls Trip. How much money y'all need to save? Y'all rebooted Miami. How much money do y'all need to save? Y'all not paying them people on them boats all this boatload of money. How much money do y'all need to save? Atlanta used to be the flagship show. It's the premier black show on the network. Y'all can spend another $1 million on Portia.
Not no more. Potomac is.
Well, Atlanta has better ratings than Potomac, so it
the
is.
Past few seasons,
yes, they have. Potomac is not at Atlanta ratings.
Okay, so bring back.
Well, I would
Portia.
not debate that with you.
Bring back Portia.
Justin, what do you say? What can save this show?
Fire everybody.
Full reboot.
Even Kenya?
Everybody.
Candy? The queen?
So one issue.
Like if it flops, bring people back. But it's like how many years are we gonna let the show and the reputation and the name like continue to sink? I'd rather us be able to say, oh shit, we made a mistake. We hired all these new people. Oh man, that's the reason for the ratings. Than for our faves to go down like this.
So here's a question as a follow-up to that as a solution. Who would they bring on? Like, where are they going to find these people? I feel like the show
There's people here in Atlanta. Don't do that now.
They really struggle to find housewives.
I feel like whatever it takes to figure that out, if they need to take a 2-year hiatus, do it. But we can't keep letting our girls go.
Isn't Manietta new, though? Isn't Sonya new? Isn't Courtney new? Marlo just had her peach for 2 years. Drew is only 3 years in.
It's not the same.
More than half the cast is already new.
But it's not the same as like getting rid of everybody's expectations. When we see Kenya, we see Candy, and we see Marlo, we already are expecting in the glory days. Once we get rid of it, those expectations, those new bitches will rise up, and then we can either love it or hate it.
And
but
that's the thing.
We will never see the show great because we're comparing them to the glory days. They will never be the glory days because you got Candy, you got Kenya, you got these girls like not even wanting those girls to even rise up like that.
And keep stifling their ability to truly shine on camera.
And as they should, though, right? Because they don't want them to like erase their history. So it's just like, I think the best thing to do is to get rid of them, love them, maybe give them a spinoff, give them some Peacock stuff. I don't know, but it's not a hate thing. It's just, we should all care about the future of this show. I mean, I have a job to do, so
yeah.
I care about my job.
Right.
But I can't do my job if the show keeps
here's another pushback. Because the pushback is, what happened with, Bravo wants us to believe that the Real Housewives of New York reboot is a dream come true for them. But I don't believe that. I don't buy it. The ratings are low. They keep wanting to talk about the mythical Peacock viewers, which we can't validate because that's only internal data, which I don't buy. But what we see from the Nielsen ratings is a show that has horrible results and that cannot maintain its lead-in ratings.
It's the highest rated show right now on
0.46.
It's the highest rated out of all their shows right now.
Real Housewives
today,
of New York reboot has never been able to capture a half of Atlanta's.
Atlanta is the highest.
No, that's what I'm saying. Real Housewives of New York's reboot can't even hold on to the Real Housewives of Atlanta's ratings.
Of course. It's a whole new cast. That was a given. Bravo knew that it was going to be like that before they even made a decision to recast it. They know what they're doing.
They're saying that. So what they're getting from this is they're saving money on the actual show. But I'm saying it's a critical flop because nobody's watching it. Not only is people
It takes
people
time
not
to gain
watching
an
it,
audience.
but my argument is, can they afford to have that happen with Atlanta as like what's happening with New York?
I think so, because if we look at Potomac, when they first came, I remember we were excited, and then it's like everybody's like, and we kind of rejected Potomac again and again and again, and they kept going, and then now people are saying they're even better than Atlanta. So I feel like when these expectations from Atlanta are over with, and we can just put that behind us, we will, maybe it'll take them 3 seasons, but I think it's worth it for the longevity of what it means to have a show like
We need to build off of what we have.
Atlanta
We
used to
have
be.
the mistress. We have the mistress storyline. We have the crooked face storyline. We have Drew and Ralph. We have Sonya's pregnancy. Why are we quitting when we have something to build on? Why do you have a chairlift, Marlo? Kenya made a great point.
I mean, it's two different great
Is the
sides.
salon real?
These are
Let's
great-
lean
It's like
into
sports.
that.
It's like sports. You let your stars go away and you usher in new people. Like, you can't hang on to the same thing forever. You're going to hang on to it as
It's
okay.
not.
Okay, let's do ratings alone. Atlanta used to average
4 million,
2
yeah.
million was a bad night.
Right.
Yeah, it was
They
bad.
barely scratch 1 million. Are we gonna?
They barely
Well,
hit
it's a
a million.
different time and day, though. It's a different
don't
time
try
and
to,
day.
I don't buy it.
No,
There's
it
shows
is.
on
It's the same, I don't
TLC
buy
that
it.
get
Don't
those
do that.
ratings.
No,
Like,
no.
Who has time to sit on the couch on
Shows
Sunday night
are still
except for
getting
me?
those
Now
ratings.
you and me.
Reality
Well, I
shows
do.
are still
Yeah,
bringing in
like you
those
said,
ratings.
on TLC, there are shows that still get those ratings. Big Brother
On
is getting those ratings, and it's Big Brother.
That's CBS.
Well, that's-
No, I'm just
that's
saying.
You're saying who has time to watch TV on Sunday nights?
television.
Bravo's biggest competition is TLC and them 600-pound sisters and those,
I actually watched
little
that
people and those Amish people and those people.
What's wrong with those shows, though?
Nothing's
You
wrong.
saying that's the
90 Day
competition.
Fiance, that's their biggest competition. Those are the shows that are maybe pulling in 1 million live same-day viewers. So if Atlanta Housewives is pulling in
How can the
800
Housewives of Atlanta not be the Housewives of Amish? Like, how is this possible?
Well, there's a better, bigger audience for it.
You have this audience.
Because the show
Okay?
is
And that's
more.
what's watching those shows.
Because the show is
Why
more
is it?
entertaining.
yeah.
It's more.
That's the bottom line. People
It's
are
more
going to
entertaining.
watch what's good TV.
Well, I'm
We
not
gotta
watching
stop
the
sympathy,
Amish.
and we got to stop
That's right.
the BS, and like we got to stop feeling like they deserve these
The
positions.
cast
Let's
is
be real.
basically new. If y'all are gonna complain no matter what, if they bring back all the OGs, if they bring back Nene, Portia, everybody, if they completely wipe it clean, y'all are gonna be upset. Build on what you already have, is my opinion.
You want them to keep going until they have like 100,000 viewers?
Why would they ever have 100,000 viewers?
It's been trending down each year. It's gonna keep going lower every year.
There absolutely have been episodes that didn't get 500,000.
Not of
No,
Atlanta.
not
This season.
No.
No.
The episode on the Sunday night when they had all that stuff on TV, that one
Okay.
didn't
Well,
get,
why
it didn't
was
get it.
it was because all that
Because all
stuff
that
was
stuff-
on
I'm
TV.
just telling you, they didn't crack
Then I
the
also
500,000.
feel like Atlanta is already knocked up against a rigorous or robust schedule.
Christmas, New Year's, Labor Day,
they
and
go through,
okay,
Labor
we have to
Day,
go against
they go
every
through
damn
Independence Day,
holiday.
they go
It's
through
the
BET
trajectory of the
Awards, they
black
go
race
through
in
the
America. We have to
Grammys.
go
Well, they
against
don't have that slot
everything.
anymore.
They go
How
through
is
all
it-
that
No,
stuff.
they don't
Why
have
is
that
it-
They lost
slot.
that because
The
they can't handle
Amish,
that
the Amish
anymore.
and the little people get 2 million views. Why is it that people aren't tuning in for the black people? It just sounds like racism to me.
It's not racism.
Now here you go.
You black,
here you go.
you blacks
well,
on TV need to give us better
yeah, I'm
entertainment.
done.
So, but again, moving forward from there,
What I want to say,
to
I'm
go
happy-
into, let's go to Vince and CJ. What can save the show? And
So
I have nothing to say.
tell the producers what you want them to hear.
So I actually agree with both of y'all or I see both of y'all's perspective. More so leaning towards your route on things, because you do have a majority new cast, if you will. But I think the pain point in that is casting. I
Okay.
think. Hold on. Wait.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that. Love Sonya to life.
Let 'em talk, Kenya Moore.
Like these new people that they've recently brought on, have somewhat potential, but I feel like that there were or could have been stronger personalities that could have been casted in those. In my opinion, justice for Shamari DeVoe. I think
Ooh,
out of all
I
the
agree.
new girls,
I agree.
Shamari DeVoe since Claudia, Kim Fields, Drew, Sonya, and all these friends of that shoulda, woulda, coulda, Shamari is still the strongest newcomer that I feel like could have had some longevity
agree.
and sustained that or what have you. I also feel to the Shamari conversation, what will save Atlanta and what the Atlanta Housewives is missing is Atlanta. Kandi is the only native ATLian on that show. When you used to have Portia, who's Decatur where is greater. Shamari's Decatur where is greater. Nene born and raised from Athens. Phaedra born and raised in Athens. Kandi from Atlanta. There is a swag and a finesse and a presence that Southern women, specifically Southern Georgia black women from Atlanta, have that cannot be replicated by any other person. So when you have only one native and 5 transplants, it doesn't truly represent what I think the core of the city is, what black Atlanta is, what black Hollywood is. Kandi is doing great with holding that realm and that fire and that torch by herself, but I feel like if they were to integrate more native Atlanta, Georgia women on that cast that can give that same ATL ho type swag like Salt Lake City, that's them.
That
That is natural. They're all from Salt Lake. New
That's
York,
Salt
they're
Lake,
from
baby.
Salt
That's-
Lake.
that's
Atlanta
what
is
it
missing
is.
Atlanta.
Nene's from New York, actually, Queens.
But
New York.
but you get what I'm saying. But she claimed Athens.
There's
Right.
And Nene acts like a Georgia woman.
She was born and raised
She acts
in
like a Georgia
Athens.
woman. No, she
New
was not
Yorkers
born-
are not
But that's
She was not
the
born in
same
Athens.
thing. Erica Jane was born in Augusta, but she's in Beverly Hills, and she acts.
Sutton Stark.
There's a
Sutton
Yeah,
Stark
Sutton was
is
Augusta
from
too.
Augusta.
You know, so
There's a report saying that they want to replace everyone except Sheree, Kandi, and Kenya.
Sheree don't need to be on there.
That would be so
Sheree
dumb.
needs to be on
That's
there.
the dumbest thing I've ever
Sheree
heard
needs
because you're basically that's what this cast is. Sheree, Kandi, and Kenya with a whole bunch of fairly new women.
yeah.
Build off of the cast you
100%
already have.
are.
It's the same thing.
Well,
More than half the cast is already new.
Yeah.
How can you say that?
Well, her husband.
They
is
are.
serious, too.
That's factual.
What?
That's
Why would you
factual.
want them to keep
Her
building?
husband didn't want her.
Why not?
I think they need to cash
Justin is
longer.
saying,
And when they replace everybody, y'all are gonna hate it.
Justin is saying, ultimately, what I make sure I get your
They
point
need to
correct.
cash stronger people.
Ultimately, you're saying they tried this and it has failed.
And it's failed again and again, and they swap out one girl for another and whatever. And I've watched with the bird's eye view. I'm looking at fan stuff. I'm looking at what people create online for years. I'm looking at even the effort. I remember the days where Sunday nights the girls will really tweet, they will really post, they were really engaged. They don't even engage with.
We don't even
fans
see the funny
anymore.
gifts
They
anymore.
don't even care.
Yeah,
And I feel
that's
like
true.
that has
Who doesn't care?
the cast. They don't really like they'll talk about their businesses or
Because
they'll
they
throw
get
a little
bullied.
bit of shade, but I don't even think they're watching.
The Kenya
on
and
Sunday
Kandi
nights
fans will
with
bully
us
them. That's why
anymore.
they
used
stay
to
away from
watch on
Twitter.
Sunday nights and live tweet. They would do blogs on
I don't
Bravo.
know.
Like they just don't.
I
care.
just think-
Who wants to get bullied by Kenya and Kandi stands?
The people who are getting.
That's
the
why this
check.
show is failing. They
And
just
I
want to
think-
see
and
All of, that
Kenya and
stuff, all
Kandi.
of that stuff.
We
helped
need a
increase
Kenya and
engagement,
Kandi.
which helped increase
We need
the
a
ratings.
how they did Sonya. Okay, reboot the cast and let's have Kandi and Kenya do
But
what Sonya
see,
Morgan and
They can do
Luann
whatever,
take
yeah.
crappy
I'm
late.
all for that. I'm not.
Yeah,
saying
let's do
disappear.
that. Let's do
But
that.
it could two things
The
could be
sympathy just
true
gotta go.
because the thing is, like you said, who would want to be bullied by Kenya and Kandi stands when you had Phaedra stands that was equally going hard, Nene stands equally going hard, Portia stands equally going
And
hard.
Kenya and
Sonya
Kandi
and
ran
them-
them off the show. And
Yeah,
this is what we
Sonya
left
and
with.
them, they don't have that yet, which is why I lean on what you're saying. It's like Rome wasn't built in a day. Beyonce wasn't built in
You
a
gotta
day.
give-
Housewives of Atlanta was not built in a day. It was not built in a day. And I think that shows a society pain point because we are so used to going viral. And if things are not popping off immediately, then we automatically want to fire people. Even the very people, Beyonce was not built in a day.
Thank
Build
you.
Beyonce is not Renaissance Beyonce.
We're in a state
We
of.
talked about this
I
last
love that
time.
for y'all, but
Hold
we're in a
on.
state of emergency
But
here.
we took the
Our
time.
show
Yeah.
is flopping.
So, no,
bad.
let's
we
do
don't
it.
got time to figure it out.
But you're
We gotta
saying,
make drastic decisions.
rebuild the
But
whole
that
thing
is
from
not
but
scratch.
TV don't work
People
like
are
that
talking
because it's
shit
still
about our
reality
show.
TV.
Like,
It's
other
still
shows are
somebody's
doing
real
better than
life,
our
though.
show.
It
Like,
don't work like that.
So Justin,
Time out.
yeah,
Hold on,
unless you want to produce.
We're on the
Time out.
precipice.
How many
Unless you
Is that
want
the
to
word?
How many seasons
We're
do we
on
need
the
to get to the
precipice.
Unless you,
I
it
think
took them
we're on a
5
precipice
We
of a
were-
rebirth.
Atlanta wasn't Atlanta until season 5.
No, you're
Like,
not
let's
gonna
be
do that.
clear.
Hold up, you're not gonna do that because season 1, season 2 was good at the house.
I mean, it was good, but Atlanta
But
wasn't a staple
when
until
Nene came
season
back from
5.
Celebrity Apprentice, the show has it was up there.
Which
It
was
went up.
That was season
which was
4 or
4
5, yeah.
4 or 5,
Season
and we
4,
gave
yeah.
them 2, 3, 4 years to do that.
So
But I'm not-
That's
hold on.
all it took. We've
Hold on,
been
but you're gonna
struggling
say
for.
that you think that this season was better than season 1 or season 2?
No, I'm saying
Okay, so
that.
what I'm saying is
I'm
Season
saying
one
that
had a
we
lot of-
gave them time.
I think we're being revisionist historians. If you go back
come
and watch
on.
season 1, it really wasn't all that interesting. They had some cute
Because I'll
moments.
flip you over the couch, Lisa.
Aaron was also
Hmm?
in middle school.
Okay.
I was what?
You were also in middle school.
let me
I was,
bring
but this-
back. Let me bring it back.
So what-
They
so
were
what-
filming with
so
a
what-
Okay, everybody
what-
stop.
what
Everybody
did you
stop.
really
Let me
know?
bring it
What did
back.
you
Let me
really
bring it
know?
back.
Now,
CJ,
if you go back and
Aaron,
watch some of them scenes.
let me go and hit the gong, okay, bongos.
whatever.
So
Bongos!
before I do that, I
Just
just
because
want
it's
to
old, don't make it great.
summarize.
I didn't say that, but just hold
Justin is
up.
coming from a place of this has been for me a revenue stream for a long time, and you've been in this game and seen a lot of stuff from the point of an entrepreneur for a long time, and you're saying that from the people out here in this world who make a living from reality TV commentary, a reboot could very well bring in more opportunity for what you do as an entrepreneur as well as where the fans are, because there's a lack of motivation and passion that exists currently. Now, I do believe, Aaron and Vince, that the current cast could bring that,
My
but
channel would
they
plummet.
need to work.
Yeah.
We need to see these women work. If Candy, and I am on the side, after listening to this really play out, I thoroughly agree with both sides too. If we get a reboot, they need to get good women on the
Ooh.
show
From Atlanta.
with husbands
Real
and
Atlanta.
families who are going to open themselves
You
up to the
don't want to
experience.
see no husband or
Real
family.
Atlanta.
You talk shit about
Let
Sonya
me
every
finish,
turn.
Kenya Moore,
Real
hair
Atlanta.
care. Real Atlanta, I like that.
Real
But on the other end, if we keep them, which I'm also on the side of, the same cast with Portia, or the same cast with Portia and drop Kenya and Sheree, but bringing in Portia, like, I don't have a problem with bringing in new cast members with the current cast members. Like you said last week, you said bring in Candy and a friend. Like, let them each pick a friend, a real friend, someone who really is like a real dynamic, because that's what is missing too, real friendships. When you fall out with your real friend, that's good TV. When
Right.
you stand up for your real friend, that's good TV. So that could work too. But whoever comes on, they need to work. They need to engage with fans. They need to do the same level of
Nobody
work
wants to
that
be bullied.
Candy Burris is doing to maintain her brand. They need to do that.
We're tired
And
of
they're
being
not
bullied.
doing that.
Stop
I'm
it.
tired of the
Stop.
candy coated clique and
Stop
the
the
Kenya Moore hair care
delusion.
stands bullying me. That's
Stop.
why nobody wants to get on X.
But
They
this
have
is
taken
my
over
thing
X.
in
They're
regards
mean. They're
to-
bullies. That's the reason why the
Well, that's how they
unalive
got-
rate is so
that's how
damn
they got
high.
Team Twirl and Team Candy, because they were actually engaging.
I said what
Now
I said.
They're entitled to us caring about their show.
If anyone wants to unallow themselves because of a candy coated click, I apologize.
So
Vince.
They talking about Courtney's face?
Because I saw last week's episode when you said we need to bring in Candy and Candy needs to bring in a friend.
like
Candy has brought in so many friends, and we still be trying to figure out why are they there. Monyetta, Lena Hugs, Gaucher. Like, through all these years, Candy has attempted to filter her friends into this thing, and they never stick. Monyetta is the only person that is stuck, and we're still walking around with light bulbs around our heads trying to figure out.
Gaucher was on the show?
Roger Bob. I slept with Roger. That was Candy friend
I
at
dated
sex
Roger
toy
Bob, too.
situation.
I didn't know
the sex
that.
toy party or whatever.
I
So
dated
I'm
Roger
just
Bob,
saying,
too.
yeah. The Demetria Roger Bob, y'all remember that? Everybody.
I do.
remember.
Yeah.
I dated Roger Bob.
But that,
Friend of Candy.
that
I
was
didn't know that.
Candy's event, and Gaucher came in as
Oh, yeah,
Candy's friend. She
yeah,
was
yeah,
invited
yeah,
to that.
yes.
Lena Hugs, RL's wife, Candy. She was somewhat visible during that type of tenure, whatever that case was. So with that being said, I can recall Candy's friends, and none of them stick. So that to me is a formula that is not going to work.
See.
Candy needs to be placed on pause. She needs to live a little bit more.
Damn.
See,
Which is okay. I'm not knocking her. I'm not negating her
The only
success. I'm not
reason
negating
why-
her
wait,
importance.
so has
she
she
just
never
needs
had
to
any good
live.
friends that stick? Let's think.
Outside of Monyetta, she's the only person.
I
Think about
don't
it.
want.
Shamari was her friend, right?
Yeah.
But Shamar
Yes.
was a wife.
Barely.
Shamari
No, they
also
weren't.
had
They
to
weren't
be-
real friends.
Shamar was a wife.
They
Yes.
knew each other,
Oh,
but
you
they
mean
weren't real
friends
friends.
of the
Like
show
friends up.
only.
That's how
I do
I would
not
see it.
want to see Atlanta hit 400,000 viewers. I really don't.
So that's
I
all
re-
we need to do.
No,
It's
that's-
gonna hit 400,000
I
if we
don't
get a
care how
reboot.
much I dislike Candy or
Well, that's
Kenya.
fine for a reboot, because then it has nothing to do with our legacy.
Then they really gonna.
Why would they hit 100,000 viewers?
I remember when it was a million.
So okay.
How did?
Yeah.
Here we go. So we're getting ready to wrap up because we've definitely given this a great run. It's been a great experience. The last question I have is, what are you going to watch now that this show is over? And it might be over for a long time. Like I hope it's not.
Hope so.
Because Diego, you said give it 2 years. I'm gonna tell you what I believe. I'm gonna be honest. We are getting ready to experience, because of the writer's strike and the actor strike and the things happening in Hollywood, you're going to have exactly like you had the last time we had this big strike. A shift and a change in entertainment. The last strike gave us the legitimate rise of reality TV on a mega scale. Don't think for a moment you're not going to always get something to stand in the gap. And the fans are fickle. And if they give us too long of a break, they're not going to come back. Don't think for a moment that they're going to be committed to this franchise, because that's just unfortunately not how it works. So I don't want them to be going for too long. But what are you guys going to watch in the gap? What's going to take up your space?
I'm going to watch Candace throw bottles.
So you're excited about Potomac coming back.
I'm so excited.
And Married to Medicine coming back.
Well, I want to see Phaedra.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here for Phaedra.
Anyone else with other shows that's in this weird time of entertainment?
House of Villains.
House of Villains. Who's your favorite villain?
Who?
New York.
Who is that?
Tiffany Pollard.
Okay.
House of Villains.
What network is that on?
It's going to be on E starting October the 12th, I think.
Oh,
what's the show about?
It's like all of the reality TV villains, like Omarosa, New York.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
What else is on that channel?
Because they're producing the
That's
show.
where the
They pay for it.
Kardashians-
Yeah.
The Kardashians are on
Before
Hulu.
they went to Hulu.
They were on E.
That's where they.
Are you
I
going to give
know,
reality
but-
television commentary around the House of Villains?
No, I didn't say that.
You might. Think about it. I think it'll be good. Think about
When
it.
Housewives is off, I kind of take mine.
That's your break. Okay.
Everyone needs a break.
I just have to clear something up real quick before I go into what I'm about to watch. So, because I know that pause word in the Bravo universe can be like extremely severe, detrimental. When I'm saying that is, we hold Candy and Kenya in these iconic frames, and I get that, rightfully so. When you look at a Beyonce, when you look at an Adele, when you look at a Rihanna, when you look at a Sade, they take time away from the industry, and it makes us miss them.
They do.
And they work on their craft, and they live, and when they come back to the forefront, they have new content to produce and more things to talk about. So for these two queens to be on this show and to have the tenure that they have, I think that is smart and strategic for them to breathe a little bit and then come back to the fold. So that's when I say on pause, I just have to articulate it that way.
Come
You know
back
what I'm
when you
saying?
get your EGOT candy.
Yeah, you know,
Like,
yeah,
let
and
us
then,
know how that
yeah,
went.
Make us miss you.
Yeah.
Like, dang, I miss Ken. Like, we miss Nene. Like, if Nene were to return on Miracle Day, praise the Lord. But at any rate, my next show that I'm really looking forward to is Real Housewives of Miami, because them are girls.
Yes.
Miami brings
Yes.
it. They've been bringing it on Peacock these past 2 seasons.
Yes.
I'm glad they finally got promoted back to
No.
Bravo.
The production is so good. on
And I
Peacock.
feel like between Miami and Dubai, they pushed all the rest of these Housewives production to come up, because Miami's production last season was spectacular. And with
And
Gertie
Girls Trip,
having
you watch
breast
Girls Trip?
cancer,
I did.
and Julia's wife having 2 types of cancers, and Alexia, like Miami has some really good storylines.
Gertie.
And I'm really excited about this upcoming season of Miami. So yeah.
Oh, Potomac and Married
But
to Medicine.
for me, I am
And,
enjoying this
They
current.
calling Potomac baddies Potomac, and I sort of agree.
I'm enjoying
They've been
this
fighting
current
every-
season of Big Brother. It is to me one of the better seasons. I'm very impressed with the gameplay. I'm very impressed with
Even with the white man saying the N word?
that was the beginning of the show, and he's off the show. What I like is for people to play hard and play well and play for themselves. And you've had this season emerge this guy named Cameron, who is the quintessential reality TV villain. No one likes him on the show. People hate him on social media, but he keeps winning.
Is he white?
Yeah, and he keeps winning. Now, I'm not saying I want him to win at all, but I enjoy his strong gameplay. What I hate on the show is that you have 4, black castmates remaining or housemates remaining, and 2 of them are related.
Are they in another?
And they're mother and son, Sari and Jared, and I hate them both. I want them off the show.
Why?
Because it's not fair to put that type of gameplay in the mix.
They've done that before.
I'm just telling you, it's not fair to the game, and I don't want them
How
on
is
there.
that not fair?
My favorite person in the house is this older lady from Atlanta named Felicia.
How is having a mother and a son not fair?
because they are going behind the backs of the other housemates to tell and communicate private things happening in their separate alliances so that they stay in the game.
That's what
and
the
that
show is about.
it is, but again, it alters the way. This is what I like. I like for the winner of the game to be the best player in the game. That's what I like. That's what, to me, makes life fair. I don't like when situations are unfair. And what I'm seeing on Big Brother is unfair gameplay.
But you don't want to see these black people win.
I want to see the
It's
best
been
player of the game.
Black players have been unfairly treated this entire fucking show.
And Taylor righted the wrong.
Big Brother is
when
one
she
of the
won.
most
The
racist
Cookout-
reality TV shows
Cookout
of
righted the
all
wrong.
time. So this is our reparations. And if they want to have a black mother and a black son and have an unfair advantage, I'm fucking here for it, because it's no reason why we should
Issa
only
Rae,
have
I'm not.
2 winners. we have 3 winners now. Tamar, the bald man from last year, and Taylor. Out of all these white people, because it was stacked against us, yes, I'm here for the unfair advantages.
And that's fine. I'm not. And I just want to see the best player win the show. I want Sari and Jared voted off immediately, and I would be a happy
You want
man.
the black people voted off?
You still have the attorney who is black, as well as my favorite person.
Are they
in the
working
house,
together? That's my question.
Felicia.
black
Felicia is
people-
from Atlanta. She is an older woman, and she's very funny, and she's really
Are
America's
the
favorite.
black people working together? Well, they're gonna lose.
They're not. But again, the mother and son are working together because they're for
Name
themselves.
a time in American history where a black person did something on their own.
I want
Okay,
to see
so they already lost.
Felicia win, the older black lady. So that's what I'm going to watch. Guys, thank you guys so much for coming out. Enjoy the off season, and I can't wait for us to come back together again soon. Maybe something good will happen on
Zack.
Potomac
Thank you.
Put in this
Thank you.
or Married to Medicine. All right.
Save Atlanta.